And yo, the Sports Bag Bros podcast is back at you. Yes, this is Tuesday, not our typically Monday, coming off of a weekend of sports. But either way, the week continues to go. We're on Tuesday, and we still can have the start time right about now. So much has happened in between time. And as you see, Bias is here. We're going to get into some fight. This is fight week. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, finally getting it on when there has been so much tenuous nonsense that made us believe at one point it may not go on.
Yeah, and it seems to be getting a little out of hand. They had a face-off, and Haney shoved the shit out of Garcia. That could be to promote it. They've known each other a long time, so I don't think there's bad blood. They've never really disliked each other. But just a little while ago, I saw Bill Haney said, if he dies, he dies. Just like Drago. I'm sending my son in there to kill him. That motherfucker's out of control, man. Bill Haney, he's an asshole.
Yep.
You should never say that about your son's opponent or about anybody. But I don't know if he's saying it to sell tickets, but that's way out of pocket.
Those tickets are sold, man. Bill Haney, I used to rock with this dude from the beginning. The story that came up with Cambosis and him getting that 11th hour reprieve to go out to Australia and be there in his son's corner when Zach Judah's father was going to be out there, Joel Judah was going to be out there. Man, and he came across all of this time before the spotlight became really hot as one of these pro-black guys that's looking out for the other people. And even in the boxing game, just looking out for one another. Peaceful, respectful dude. That's how he came across. But now that all eyes are on him, all media seems to be on him, like a lot of these boxing fathers of late in the past 10, 15 years. He's just taking it to another level. He's become, in my opinion, an unlikable guy unless you like and subscribe to the BS he says. Kind of like Deontay Wilder talking about wanting a dead body one day.
Right. So neither one of these guys are one of my favorite fighters. I don't really dislike either of them. But Garcia's younger brother is going to fight one of the Vargas brothers.
Okay.
And so Ryan, he showed up to a press conference and he had something to say about Papa Vargas. And so right there, I'm a big Vargas fan.
Yeah,
so
I'm about to say, bro, Rose.
I was like, man, fuck Ryan Garcia. That was totally unnecessary. But then you got Bill Haney's dad saying if he dies, he dies. I'm like, man, I don't know who to go for. They both need an ass with me. My PC, I got life. I might be able to log in.
Oh, okay. But you know what, though? I go with the guy who I believe is going to win. And I'm going with skills paying the bills. And right now is Devin Haney. For all intents and purposes, Devin Haney, with all of these guys fighting each other or the opportunity to have a round robin and the best fight the best, he's been the one seeming like he's willing to take the chances. He's gone to Australia knowing there could have been a BS judging system out there. As you know, when you go overseas, you're pretty much on your own. He went out there and beat Cambosis. Not only did he go out there and beat Cambosis, he came back and beat Cambosis again in Australia, even worse. So this guy's willing to take the chances. No one really wanted to fight Loma. Well, he goes in and fights Loma. You know what I mean? I mean, Tio did fight Loma, but Loma was still one of these guys that you didn't want to, and Tio, remember when Tio fought him, there was an injury involved. But, Loma was completely healthy when he fought Devin Haney. I still believe Loma edged him out. But look, we got to look at what happened officially. And Haney won the fight. He's still undefeated. He's a young guy. He's taking the chances. He moved up in weight now, and I think it's done nothing but good for him. He beat pro grade, knocked him down. Not that he was a special fighter, but at least it got us a chance to see how he acts when there's legitimate power after him in a class he wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, that's true. And we've talked about it before. I think when this fight was announced, they fought 5 times in the amateurs or 6 times, and Garcia won 3. But he hasn't developed like Haney has in the pros.
He hasn't.
Haney went old school. He started off in Mexico. He was too young to fight pros in the U.S. So he came up grinding. Garcia, as a pro, you didn't really know much about him until he became a YouTube sensation. And then you see
amateur fights.
Yeah, but I'm saying as a pro.
Yeah.
And then you see his videos, it's all flash. He's trying to throw 100 punches in 10 seconds, and the bag doesn't punch back.
Nope.
You know, that doesn't mean you know how to cut off a ring. That doesn't mean you know how to slip a jab. And Haney, if you watch him, the eyeball test, you see Haney has way more skills than Garcia at this
Oh,
point.
that's without a question. Without a question. I still can't believe, and I was thinking the other day that I had taken Garcia against Tank going into that fight. What the hell was I thinking? And I wasn't even sold on the YouTube nonsense or even all of that sensationalism that he's been doing. I thought that he's grown into this fight, and I looked at the measurables more than anything else. Tank just folded him up and bent him down and had him kneeling like Tim Tebow for a minute. And then he didn't want to be in there.
I can see it, though, because we were thinking along the same lines. Garcia's speed.
Yeah.
But he showed a lack of skills. He was wild. He was going after Tank like a madman, almost like Ricardo Mayorga. And if anything, Tank is composed, and he'll see your weakness and he'll expose it. And he caught Ryan, dropped him, and then caught him with that body shot.
He didn't want to
and they want to say, well, he was injured before going in, and he got hit on the same rib. Bruh. Whatever, man. He was not going to win that fight regardless.
Yeah, once the fight started working its way out, man, I realized, okay, he's in over his head. And then Tank said, man, he has that composure. He's been in some, they talk about who he hasn't fought, but for the fights that he's had, he still kept his composure. Even against Pitbull, the new champion, he had an injured hand in that, and he still grinded it out and won that fight. People make it seem like he wasn't injured. So, man, Pitbull gave more he could handle. He did under those circumstances. I would like to see a rematch, and after what Pitbull had just done to Rolly, well, I mean, not that Rolly was anything special, but it did make Pitbull a champ. It would be nice to see those two get it on. And the way Pitbull has been fighting since he fought Tank, I think, hey, a rematch is something that people are interested in. There's buzz for it, but because there are so many others now in that weight class, and Tank has to move up, it's going to be real interesting to see all of these guys round robin. Then Shakur's still coming up, eventually doing his thing.
Right. I mean, Tank versus Pitbull, man. I pay for that.
Oh, even though I'll pay for it real this time. I jumped on that Pitbull bandwagon after that fight, and I think it's legitimate. Even though he didn't look so good the fight before his Rolly fight, but he came back, looked well here, and looked more than well, and he's back to his old tricks again. I'm thinking someone like Devin Haney, who has those measurables and the skill set and sharp, he may be someone that kind of makes it an awkward fight for Pitbull. But someone like Tank, who will brawl with you, who does have some fast hands, but he doesn't use them like he should. He just goes out there, bangs you out, but he figures you out before he bangs you out. He's not over anxious. But back to this fight with Haney and Garcia, you talk about these guys, they fought as amateurs, and that's a good selling point. But all of these other things that they've both been doing, I think Ryan Garcia in particular, it adds a little bit more, I don't know, questioning. I don't know what it really adds because he's been acting so awkward. At one of the press conferences, they get to the stare down, and Devin Haney says he smells alcohol on Ryan Garcia's breath. Bro, I mean, who does that? I mean, I had never seen that or heard about that before. A dude in a high-profile fight like this, speaking the way he's spoken, you're doing a stare down face-to-face, and Devin Haney was like, yo, bro, you smell alcohol. I smell alcohol on his breath. Man, I smell alcohol on your breath. And then he talks about, well, I have a drink here and there. I use, smokes weed. It's like he was deliberately trying to get this fight called off.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I just think Garcia, he may not be all there. He's got a lot of different things going on. He releases these videos, or he's this, he's that. He knows about this. He's going to expose everybody. To my knowledge, he hasn't exposed anybody.
Himself.
Did he know stuff about Diddy? Why didn't he expose Diddy? I'm just saying, he talks about the Illuminati. He says he's with God and he believes in Jesus. And I don't know. I just don't know where his head is at, man. I really don't. I've already spoken on his skills. If his head's not there, there ain't no way he's gonna win because he don't have the skills.
No, he doesn't have the skills, and I've seen that now. I just still regret that I had taken him over Tank. And as you mentioned with Haney, man, he's come up the hard way because in the U.S. you can't turn pro at that early age. His father really dedicated himself to building his son's career and put him in the right hands. The reason why I know people wonder why Mexico doesn't have any gold medals, because those dudes just turn them pro early and they're going on to become great, going through the grind. They don't have to get catapulted into the limelight because of a gold medal. Felix Trinidad didn't even do that as a Puerto Rican boxer. But anyways, you know, you look at the way they've come up and you talk about the amateurs, and I've mentioned in one of the shows how the amateurs obviously don't really matter because we talk about Mike Tyson losing them back-to-back nights to Henry Tillman, and then he fights him in the pros and it's not even 2 minutes or probably just over 2 minutes. In the first round, he gets knocked out. And you look at Mark Breland, he had one loss out of 110 wins, one loss as an amateur. He gets the same guy and he beats him. I mean, it was a 10-round decision, but he beats him. So all that amateur success doesn't matter in the pros a lot of times, especially now because the pro game is so much different than the amateur game than it was even back then when Mark Breland had fought.
Yeah, there have been plenty of examples where guys winning the amateurs but get beaten at pros. Pros totally different. No headgear.
Nope.
You know, in the pro game, there's more body punches. You're not just trying to score. You know, you can outpoint your opponent in the amateurs, but in the pros, you can get broken down.
Yeah.
You know, with body shots and hard counters and whatnot. So it's almost two different sports.
Yeah, and in the amateurs, the referee gives you those voice commands you have to listen to. In the pros, the ref may just miss a low blow, an elbow, or something else. He'll screw up, and he almost seems deliberate sometimes, but it does happen. And so there's a completely different game. And I think Loma, Bias went away for a little while, but I think Loma is an example of one of those guys that went from the amateurs to the pro, and as elaborate as his amateur career was, I think he's 396-1. Come on, that'll never happen again in the amateurs. Anyone who's fought any boxing, even especially in the amateurs, they know how difficult it is to go undefeated for if you went 10-0, 20-0, let alone going 396-1. That's out. Come on, that's not. But even he had his problems going into fighting someone like Salido when he had his first title shot and got roughed up by the rugged Salido, who's not going to anyone's Hall of Fame, but he's good enough to take care of a guy who had an elaborate amateur career, was pushed along as a pro, didn't deserve it. I don't think anyone deserved it in their second fight to get a championship shot. But, you know, we showed that he was a decent fighter. I mean, we saw that Loma was a special fighter, so I guess you could do with him. Just don't try this at home. So, yeah, I got to see how all that worked out.
Oh, I was calling you. I'm on my PC now. I'm all
okay.
good.
Oh, I was looking at you down there.
I'm like, add me, bro. Add me. I'm back. Had a little technical difficulties, but I'm on as normal now.
You stand by.
Let's do this.
Yeah. I was talking about how, you know, in the amateurs, the amateur game is completely different than the pro game, especially now. And I was talking about how Loma was 396-1, I think, as an amateur, and how he was able to go into his second professional fight with perfect guidance by Bob Arum and fight someone like Orlando Salido. And look what happened. He still lost. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, and Salido's not who had as an amateur.
You kind of paused on me, but I think you're saying that Salido's nothing special, something along those lines.
Yeah, no, I'm saying he wasn't a Hall of Famer, considering that you're going in there as a champion against someone like Loma, who had 396 wins and only one loss. Right. You know, it's difficult to go undefeated at all in the amateurs. Going 10-0, 20-0 in the amateurs is difficult. We've seen so often how that's not even an option a lot of times. But to go 396 or 396 or 393-1, that's ridiculous. And we saw and we see when he turned pro why he was there. He was special, but still got beaten his second fight. It took him some time before he at least got up to speed, and they got him another opportunity. He eventually won the championship. So these amateur, you know, the amateur game is completely different. At least back in the day, they didn't wear helmets in the amateurs, but they wore heavier gloves. That was it.
Yeah, that was bad matchmaking. But to his credit, you know, he didn't get knocked out. He didn't get dominated. I mean, the fight was kind of on the table. He just wasn't ready to step in with the dog like Salido.
No, Salido's exactly rugged.
You know, exactly. If you don't, you know, if you don't have a referee saying, "Hey, like stop in action. Hey, keep your head up," hey, don't do this, don't do that. And the guy's not doing anything dirty. He's just, like you said, rugged, coming roughing you up. And you haven't dealt with that, man. You got to learn on the job.
And those are the voice commands. And amateurs, you hear the voice commands, break, stop, and they listen. In the pros, the ref is going to miss a lot of calls. Sometimes it seems deliberate, but he's going to miss a lot of calls. But now Hopkins will put his head on one side, do all this illegal crap on the side the ref's not on. And then when the ref gets there, he acts like he didn't do anything. The damage is already done. And that just happens in the pro game. And it happens often. And the real crafty, grizzled vets know how to do it. But yeah, like just kind of going back to Haney and Garcia, I mean, what more is there to talk about? Fight time is finally here. Breaking down styles, they're completely different style-wise because one is refined and one still hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah, and Haney, he's calling out Garcia, saying, all you got is a left hook. All you have is a left hook.
And the same.
And Garcia saying, well, it's going to be funny when I knock you out with the right hand. I don't see it. He's going to be eating jabs all night.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking body shots all night. Haney, I mean, he could get clipped, but if he's not going to get clipped by the right hand, I doubt it. And he's going to be watching out for the left hook. So it's not like he's just going to give his chin to Garcia to land it.
And remember, against Prograde, that was the first time that Devin Haney moved up in his entire career. His entire career goes back to being a young teenager. He stayed at the same weight and then just hung on throughout his entire career. He finally moved up, and I don't think people noticed it. Well, they should have, because if you watch the fight, you should realize he looks a little bit stronger, if not a lot stronger and sharper at 140 pounds now that he doesn't have to cut weight as hard as he was doing it. And he does have some power. I'm not saying he's a knockout artist, but when those punches are more crisp and he adds a little bit more power because of the weight and feeling comfortable, bro, those are the shots that knock you out. Those sharp shots, that quick counter, those things can distract you and they can knock you out. And we know with Ryan Garcia now, when it comes to body shots, he's not exactly in love with those things. Not saying Haney has the tech power, but a shot in the right spot, hit that floating rib, see how that goes down. That's where it goes.
Yeah, I don't think Haney has a lot of power, but he could stop him with an accumulation of punches.
Yeah, I just think his power's gotten better since he's moved up.
Yeah, we've seen Garcia get hit clean before, right? So Haney's got one of the best jabs in the business.
Yes,
he's gonna be eating that jab all night, man. And once he starts landing right hands and hooks, it could be a long night for Garcia.
Yep, and that's exactly what I'm thinking, man. I mean, come on. We have a Thursday show where we can have a panel and get a multitude of different opinions on this fight. It's hard for me to believe that, depending on, it doesn't matter who we get on the panel, it's going to be hard to see someone really going with a clear conscience and taking Ryan Garcia. There's going to be a caveat to it if someone decides to take him. They're going to take him if this happens. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anyone going into this based on what we've seen, not only against Tank, but in the build-up to this fight. Seeing how he's been acting, it makes everyone believe, and I think we're right for believing it. His mind isn't there. Why is someone still letting him go into the ring, man? I know boxing is grimy like that, but man, you let this guy go into the ring when it looks like he's having some type of a meltdown before all of us. Hopefully nothing serious happens. Hopefully nothing like Bill Haney's talking about happens. And so, you know, and we just get a good show and just get the decisive winner and just move on.
So my thing with Garcia is, after the knockout loss to Tank, he hasn't been humbled. You know, yeah, you're undefeated and you don't think anyone can beat you going into that fight. Yeah, you should feel that way, but you get dropped and then you get stopped.
The way he did, yeah.
Right. You should be humble and be like, okay, maybe I wasn't who I thought I was. I got to work really hard. He did get a new trainer, but I don't know. Like I said, the videos he drops, and maybe it's done on purpose. Of course, they're not going to share strategies and game plans, but every video he drops is about that's not training.
Nah, it's flash and dash, looking for clicks. This is the age we live in. We're living in an age where clicks and likes is more important than actually doing the work. You know, you see a 5-second clip, and that gets thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views.
That reminds me,
one round fight, and people don't look at it as often.
That reminds me of Mike Tyson on the mitts. People are like, "Oh, did you see Tyson?" I'm like, "Man, it's the mitts. Wait, it was a 5-second clip. Do you not remember Mike Tyson being gassed after the second round? Let's watch. Let's see a 10-minute video. Let's see how it looked at the end of that 10-minute video. Not a
for
5-second clip.
For that Jake Paul fight, I can see something. Mike's gotten his rest. If you're talking about rest being the reason why he didn't look anyway like we thought he could have looked against other fighters like Kevin McBride, I guess the rest has happened. And it takes that one time to get back out there, get back into the groove and start doing what your muscle memory allows you to do. He's doing a lot of that, but regardless of what you do, working hard and all of that, your telomeres are getting shorter, and that comes with everyone's life. And not on top of that, he's going to be 58 by the time this fight does start. And he's going to get fatigued quicker than he's been fatigued before. Now, in true Mike Tyson fashion, they're talking about he's going in there with some type of a strategy. The strategy should be what Mike Tyson's always done, seek and destroy. If he's landing the shots at any time in this fight, man, this fight shouldn't get out. If he's going to go out there as intense as he is on those mitts, that fight shouldn't get out of the first round.
His best chance is probably the first minute to 90 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about, that first round.
Yep.
Because at some point, Jake is going to get hit harder than he's ever been hit. Even from that guy, the punch is the last thing to go. Mike still has some decent speed, more than the other 57 or 58-year-old. Better than some of the guys. We lose Ortiz. He's faster than him. Come on, man. So he'll be. So, if he lands one of those, there's going to be a heavier gloves or not. The concussive impact is still going to be there with 18-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves. It's going to be there. But anyways, yeah, that's another fight, another day. I mean, we might not even talk about it when it starts approaching. But yeah, when it comes to these two guys, though, Devin Haney, it looks like a mismatch. And what adds to that is the way that Ryan has been acting over the past several months, man. I thought he was deliberately trying to get this fight canceled. But yeah, there may be something legitimately going on inside of his head. He has not been humbled, as you said. So I don't know. I don't think it's about selling tickets. They're both popular. He's more popular than Devin Haney. The tickets are sold.
That's true. Yeah, and the purses indicate that. I think it's 60-40 for Garcia.
So he's bringing the money to the table. This is what we got.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens after he loses Saturday.
Yeah, because he should lose, man. I mean, and Devin Haney, to his credit, this guy's been serious about boxing. Every time that guy's in the ring, he gives you every bit of an effort that he has. I don't think I've seen him kind of go into any fight lackadaisical or during the course of the fight get lackadaisical. He goes in there, takes business as business, and he tries to do what he can do in there. Even against Loma, I still think he probably lost that fight, but he gave you all he had. But Loma's a freaking special fighter. Even as an old man, he's a special fighter. And for them to talk about it like it was an easy fight, that was stupid.
Yeah, and that's my issue with Devin and his dad. Like, watching that fight, Loma deserved a rematch.
Oh,
they're talking like he won 119 or 109. No, it was a close fight, and he deserved
a very close fight, man.
But I think, I don't want to call him delusional, but when he talks like that, I look what I did to Loma. What did you do to Loma?
I think that's more of his father, man. Delusional. That's more of his father saying that. We'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about this fight on Thursday. We'll try to put together a panel, get more than just biases and my opinion, and see how that goes. I'm thinking that everybody's going to go our way, but you might just have that one person with that one caveat that's going to have them pick Ryan Garcia. And it is boxing. Anything can happen, man. And you know what? Ryan still has that left hook. Now I'm thinking that Devin Haney's been serious enough and he's skilled enough to avoid it, but it still can land.
Another reason that I just remembered, he throws his hook from way back here.
That part too.
If it was a short hook, he'd have a better chance of landing it.
Like Oscar.
He telegraphs his left hook. And to a guy who's defensively responsible like Haney, you ain't going to just land that, man.
Nah, you're not going to land it because the bag stood there. You think he's going to stand there. Man, the double M bag doesn't even stand there. You think you hit that. But yeah, man, we'll get a chance to talk about that because there's been so much going on in this sports world. Yeah, we'll get to the NBA, but before we can talk NBA, there's always basketball. And guess who? Caitlin Clark, once again, the number one pick in the WNBA draft, going to the Indiana Fever. And not only is she going to the Indiana Fever, the sellout. Everything is sold out within about an hour after she was picked. the fastest selling jersey of any kind. Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars used to hold the record from 2021. She cleared that out. Bro, she's transcended. This is what they're looking forward to in the WNBA, or are they really looking forward to it? They want the money. They want the raise that they're probably going to get if she lives up to expectations, but they don't want her to be the person for the reason why it happened. Ridiculous.
They're just going to have to get used to it, because
Get used to it.
Two things that travel in basketball. If you can shoot, you can shoot. If you can see the court, you can see the court. You can pass, you can drop dimes, you can drop dimes. So maybe she doesn't shoot from 40 or 35. She can still shoot. She gets an open shot, chances are she's going to knock it down. And she's just going to make her teammates better.
She is.
So the possibility of her not succeeding in the WNBA, I just don't see it, other than injuries. God forbid.
And this tit for tat nonsense is like everything you put up good about Caitlin Clark. Someone has to say something about Angel Reese, and it's not even on the level of what Caitlin Clark is doing. And now they're getting to the point of who looks better. Bro, why are we even going there? We're talking basketball. Whose stats look better? Who has done more with their team or for their team? Yeah, Angel Reese has her championship, but guess what? Caitlin didn't have the team she had because these LSUs and these from back in the day, Tennessee's or even UConn's had these super teams. Iowa hadn't had the super team, but yet Caitlin Clark led this team to 2 national championships. Fell short, but she's the only reason for why it was going on anyway. So now every time we see her, there's either someone disparaging her by the way she either looks physically or saying she's overrated or bringing some wooden chick from the black and white days out to say, this is the real leading scorer. Bro, get out of here. She's done what she's done. No one can do anything about it. Now everybody's looking for Juju to break the record, and they're going to put extra sauce on it because of who she is, a black woman. Because as USA Today said, women's basketball should be a black woman's face because of what they've done for the sport. What about the sport period that used everybody who built it to where it is, and even the WNBA, which has not made a profit yet, but used everybody? I mean, they used everybody to get to this point. White women, black women, every person that came by, they tried to make this person the new reason why you should watch the WNBA. You now organically have someone who's done it. No one from the power teams. Caitlin Clark, Iowa women's basketball has done it. This is the reason why people are watching her in college. Everybody who aren't even fans of Iowa and women's basketball watched her in college, and they're now going to do the same thing in the pros, because that's the only reason why I'll tune into the WNBA is watching her, at least seeing how this works out.
So you mentioned disparaging comments, but let's talk about Caitlin. She went on Saturday Night Live the other night. Did you catch it?
No, I did not. I heard about something, but I didn't really.
I saw a little clip. I don't know to what extent she was on there, but she was giving Michael Che the business. It was funny, but because he's made fun of the WNBA and whatnot. But you just got to see the clip. But she went out of her way to thank the women who went before her. And to her credit, the first name out of her mouth was that bitch Cheryl Swoops. She thanks Cheryl Swoops after all the shade that bitch has been sending her way.
Yep, that's what she's done.
She's a bitch, because if you're going to fabricate shit, make up shit, lie about her, you are a fucking bitch.
And not acknowledged deliberately.
Caitlin Clark, you're better than me, because that name would not have come out my mouth. But I think that's part of it too. She's not fake. She's not trying to show.
She's the humble one.
She's not trying to do this. She's not trying to do that. And you mentioned Juju Watkins. Juju Watkins said, Caitlin Clark spoke to me and said, if you need anything, let me know. Just advice on how to deal with this, deal with that.
Yep.
Advice on the game. She didn't have to put her arm around Juju Watkins.
Nope.
You mentioned it. People are now propping Juju Watkins to be the one to break her records or whatever. Caitlin Clark doesn't care. She does not care. She's just a humble person, a good person, and she's a badass baller.
Oh, yeah. And
people don't like her for it. If she was a bad girl, if she was more like Angel Reese, people would probably like her more and leave her alone. That makes no sense to me.
But you know what? I think that more people do like her. It's the subculture of race pimps and whores that don't like her. And we see what they're doing. We hear what they're doing. We've talked about it several times. In fact, on our own show 2 shows ago, we look at the comments there, go down the list of everything people have talked about for the most part.
Idiots came in there.
Oh my God, they just came out.
Some good people too.
The idiots came out at night. They came after us for just telling the truth, giving our opinion, not kissing butt, and not being part of this culture of people who are looking at race instead of basketball. We talked about her last year when it was about basketball. We saw it morph into this bad sign of basketball and race now, even though it was still going on last year. It's just now that she's been talked about too much, people hate to hear about it. Which people? Those people who hate to see a white girl in which they believe is their sport dominating, not just playing, but absolutely dominating, becoming transcendent, and being the reason why the WNBA may just turn a profit within the next year or two.
Salaries may go up because attendance is going to go up.
More eyeballs are going to be out there. There's going to be more sponsorship coming in.
They need to be thankful, man. And there are a lot of people who are out there that are thankful.
Oh, they absolutely
they're just not as loud as the negative people.
Yeah, exactly. You can have 10 negative people out of 100, just 10% say a bunch of things, and you'll remember probably all 10 of their names and wouldn't remember the other 90 that's been good. That's just how it goes sometimes. But this is exactly what is going on right now. And you listen to these comments and you wonder, where the hell are these people coming from with this nonsense? Why are they still acting like that? Even to this date, they got people posting things of Angel Reese in a dress or Angel Reese looking good physically and comparing her to Caitlin Clark. They're talking about yesterday, Caitlin Clark dressed this way. And now they're going to bring up a picture of Angel Reese. What's that got to do with that? Nothing. Angel Reese is not the number 1 pick overall. She never will be. And she won't be. She won't have all eyes on her when she gets to the WNBA. People are going to talk about it because of all that, the candy that I guess, the eye candy, I guess, in their opinion. But from a basketball perspective and a pioneering perspective and how the game is now going to be looked at and probably approached by sponsors and everybody else who weren't fans before, that's all Caitlin Clark. You got to deal with it.
Right. Well, it was draft night. And of course, potential draft picks or people who know they're going to get drafted.
Yeah.
They're going to come out looking good. They're going to find the best outfits. So I don't know what to say. I mean, remember the NBA draft? We had dudes in like ruby studded,
ruby slippers. That was that Grady Dick.
The NBA did it too. What's the big deal?
You know what I'm saying? But this is what we're
dealing
with.
Put on your best duds and show out.
That's what you do. The NFL draft. I still remember the NFL draft I went to in New York at the theater, inside Madison Square Garden when Keyshawn Johnson was the number 1 pick overall, went to the Jets, and he had that zoot suit on. That's still to this day the best draft I've ever gone to. I mean, that place was just so lit that day. Now it's everybody's draft. They go everywhere to do it. But yeah, they come put on their Sunday best or lifetime best, come out there and just show up for that one moment only. You're not getting another time like that in your life. And now you got it on the women's side, and they're finally getting the props they've wanted all this time. And you listen to these people who make it seem like they're going to make it difficult for her when she gets to the NBA. People like Diana Taurasi, of all people. Come on, man. Why make it difficult from a competitive standpoint? Don't go rogue and try to injure this woman and make things worse.
Yeah, like I said last week, that ESPN show was garbage. You got none but UConn girls watching a UConn game versus Iowa. What do you expect them to say? But, I mean, I don't know. I guess people just can't be objective. There's no reason to say, oh, she got a reality check coming or whatever. We're waiting for you. Or
reality. Hey,
it's not like Caitlin Clark's out there with a bullhorn saying, I'm coming to the WNBA. I'm a dominant.
We're doing it for her. And millions of other fans.
But if you're threatened by her game, that's your problem. If you're threatened because she shoots 40% from threes and a lot of them are 35 feet and beyond, that's your problem.
Yep.
Get out there and stop her. But don't hate her.
They won't be able to do it. Because guess what? Even right now, presently, as we sit here, the WNBA isn't that great to begin with. Bro, it's not like she's going the huge jump from college basketball to pros. bro, there's not such a huge jump from college basketball to pros when it comes to collegiate women's to collegiate to WNBA. Not like the NBA from high school going to college and then going to the NBA. And the WNBA just isn't overall tight and good like that. Caitlin Clark comes right in and starts playing right away, unless there's some type of an injury, which we hope there isn't, and that's for any player. But I'm just thinking her skill set, and she's 6 feet tall. She's above the norm at the point guard spot.
Let me share one of the jokes Michael Che said on Saturday Night Live prior to Saturday night, which was one of the reasons Caitlin Clark went at him. It was all in fun though. He said that the Iowa game was watched by 11.2 million, a new record.
Yeah.
That's 11.2 million more than the old record.
Bro, he ain't lying though. This dude is hardly lying though. Bro, she's the reason why there are eyeballs on the freaking set. Seriously, she's the reason why. And that's been the case for women's basketball for years. Even with the WNBA playing the way they're playing, people still kind of look forward more to the Olympic basketball team, females, than they still do with the WNBA champs. I guess if you got someone who's like a borderline basketball fan or a borderline sports fan, they probably couldn't name the last couple of WNBA champions. And, well, why should you have to? No one else cared. Now they finally do care. You have someone who knows who the collegiate player who did not win a championship is. She's going into the WNBA, and she's going to be the reasons why everyone watches. I've been saying it for a long time, and now we're going to say it again until it proves otherwise.
So let's talk NBA. We got playing games.
Oh, bro, we got playing games now. That's what we got. We got the NBA now, the big dogs. And by the way, Giannis may not even play in the beginning of the series against the Pacers, man. He's been banged up. Bro, they've been falling apart anyway heading to this point.
That's what I'm saying. Is he banged up or does he just not want to be on the court?
Bro, he's gonna turn his back on his team now.
No, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure.
No, he seems like an honest player, man. He'll get out there and give it his all. He's done it before. He's gone out there and giving it his all, even when he was kind of banged up and still got some.
I think he's probably looking at a couple more days of rest, as opposed to going out there in game one and then not getting the necessary rest he needs, and it's going to hurt him later in the series. So maybe passing on game one so it can be stronger for game two and beyond.
So now these playing games, you have the Lakers and the Pelicans, you have the Golden State Warriors in Sacramento.
Man, the only thing I'm hearing is, should the Lakers lose on purpose so they don't have to play the Nuggets? Come on, man.
Bro,
fuck around, give up the game against the Pelicans tonight and then lose to the Kings or the Warriors and you're completely out. That's just asinine.
No, people say stupid things.
Yeah.
They don't understand how it is to be on that high level of anything competitive. People don't think like that, man. Even with all the money at stake, dudes don't think like that. This is ring time. And this is an opportunity, especially for LeBron, legacy-wise. He hears all the crap people say. He knows this. He wants to be part of that as well, even though I think it's AD's team. But still, you get the matchup. The Pelicans and the Lakers are playing. Even right now, they're playing. In fact, the Pelicans are down 13-14. Early going. Nothing
already?
Right. Yeah, they already started.
Well, I knew it started, but down 13 already?
Well, no, 17-15 now.
Oh, I thought you.
Oh, no, I was just going by the score. The Lakers
are
up 17-15 now.
13.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, they're playing in New Orleans, but
the Pelicans don't play well against the Lakers, man. It's almost
for
like
some reason, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
so if the Pelicans win tonight, there needs to be an investigation.
Well, the way things might just shake out, you say they don't play well against the Lakers anyway, so the Lakers should likely pull this off. Then you have Golden State playing against Sacramento. Sacramento picking up a lot of what they did last season, doing it a little bit again this season. They just didn't sneak up on anybody this year. It still served to be a solid team.
Yeah, my first thought is to go with the Kings, but they haven't been playing that well. I mean, at one point, not even that long ago, they were like the 5 seed, and they ended up being the 7 seed. Or no, they're the 9th seed, right?
Right now?
Yeah, they're the 9th seed. Phoenix is the 7th seed. But then the Warriors have been playing a lot better. But then I think about who do the Warriors have for Sabonis? or maybe Draymond's gonna stomp on his chest again. I don't know.
Draymond, man.
I don't
But
know.
hey,
This one's a toss-up, man. I can't make up my mind. But I think it's imperative that Steph has a good game, a really good game. He hasn't been dropping 30, 35 recently. It's been more of a collective effort, but it's playoff time, man. Steph,
that's
you
what it
got to
is.
step it up.
Dogs
So
got to step up.
I think if he doesn't drop at least 35, I'm thinking closer to 40, they're going to be in trouble.
And Sacramento, they didn't start the season that well because I thought they were going to pick up what they left off when they surprised people last season. And this season ahead, they didn't surprise anybody. They didn't start off, but then they did get hot and they did hold serve for a little bit. Then they kind of got win one, lose one, win two, lose two. And then, in fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I went down to Orlando to watch them play against the Magic, another one of those teams in the East that's in the playoffs as well. And it wasn't overly impressive. It was a bogus call that ended up helping them win the game. But, they won nonetheless in Orlando. But that's not exactly a big deal when we look at it now. We see that the West is ahead of the East anyhow. Having those troubles against Orlando, even in Orlando, kind of is sort of a telltale based on the rest of the way their season has gone. Winning some, lose some, and now they're kind of like the same spot right now. Winning some and losing some. Yeah, it is hard to pick, but if you had to pick, wouldn't it be the Warriors? They've been there before. They got players there. The guys are older, but
it's on the road. Plus, you got to think the Warriors bounced the Kings last year. They're going to be out for revenge.
Yeah, they are.
I just think they don't have anybody to deal with Sabonis. I don't trust Trace Jackson Davis. Not in the playoffs.
Well,
I mean, Sabonis is a wily old veteran, man. He's gonna be looking. Oh, you got a rookie on me? Time to go to work.
Yep, and that's exactly what's going to happen. But I'm still thinking that Golden State, Steph can step up. You know what I mean? Steph steps up when it matters. Still an old dog. And by the way, do you think? Did I ask you the other day? Was he a top 3 guard in the league?
You asked me if he was top 2.
The top 2, 3, yeah, anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Because I mentioned how someone else thinks that he's still like the top point guard or among the top point guard. I'm like, man, Tyrese Halliburton.
I mean, for one game, he could be, but he's not going to be all pro. I mean, all NBA. So that shows you right there, he's not a top 2 guard.
No, I don't think so either, man. So yeah, we got that going on. And then tomorrow we got Miami playing the 76ers. Now the 76ers, I mean, Embiid comes back. They're a completely different team as you would expect. Maxey kind of held them down until he got back, and that's why they're here anyway. Are they formidable in this playoff series now or in the playoffs period because of Embiid being back? And they are a different team. They've been winning now.
I think so. I'm not sure if they have to play 1 or 2 if they win, if they have to play a second one. But the more games, the more play, the more time Embiid has on the court, as long as he's healthy, the better rhythm he's going to get into.
That's true, man.
So that first round, when they get to it, Philly could be a problem.
Yeah,
now, if it's the 8 seed against Boston, Boston's still going to handle them. But the 2 seed and the Knicks, man, that's going to be a battle.
I think they had the Philly. I think Philly may be favored against the Knicks. That's crazy. Well, I mean, you know what? I can't say it's crazy based on the matchup. Julius Randle's not there, but Jalen Brunson, you know what? People talked all that nonsense about Jalen Brunson when he came. I remember all those New Yorkers, including Stephen A. Smith, along with Spike Lee, supposed to be Knick fan number 1. They talked about it. Nick wrong. Your boy, we're talking about him.
I got to talk about him.
See, he's just talking nonsense about, all this time for $22 million or how much he's getting paid for Jalen Brunson. And look at this. This dude's on the cusp of being he's not getting MVP. He's at least in some argument. If you had a top 5, he'd at least be up there.
Yeah, Brunson has been balling, man.
He'll
probably be the second all NBA guard, him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I was thinking the same thing. If you're looking at just this season only, and he was starting to kind of show up a little bit when he was with the Mavericks before he came to the Knicks, and it's just that the Knicks became his show. Julius Randle, I mentioned before that if the top player came to the Knicks, Julius Randle would no longer be that top player. He'll be a number 2. And if you brought in another one of those stars, he'd be a number 3. You know what I mean? That's true because I thought he was a very good player just on a mediocre team. Now you're a very good player with a star player in Brunson. And if you brought in a third person, like people are doing in threes these days, you'd be the third guy. But either way, he's not there, and the Knicks is still the second seed. And hey, Knicks fans, but we're happy. We just hope we get some results from it. I'm not worried about the championship. They're balling like hell right now. But the Celtics are still the odds-on favorite for the East, especially with Milwaukee going down as they are. Miami playing your boys, the Chicago Bulls. So what do you think about that? You thinking the Bulls don't have a shot at all? Is Miami going to finally do what they did last season and start putting things together and getting themselves a possibility at a damn finals?
I doubt they make a run again.
I don't think not this year. This is not happening.
But they probably beat the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls are pathetic. They haven't made a trade in 3 seasons. They don't bring in no free agents. It's no coincidence that the 2 worst franchises in Chicago are owned by the same guy.
You know what? Now that you talk about it, yeah, that's true. And the White Sox are having it start off pretty bad this year. I mean, it's starting off terribly.
Hey, here's a little tidbit for you guys. Anybody still watching? You want to make some money this summer, and you're not gonna get rich, but because the odds are gonna be terrible. But bet against the White Sox every game. You'll come out. They're gonna lose 100 games, man. They're gonna win more than 50. That's like 90. That's at least 90 more wins for you, man. 90. They might lose 110 more games. I was flipping channels, and I saw the Sox run. I was like, let me see what's going on with these dudes because I haven't watched. And there was some dude at the plate. I didn't know who he was. It was Jackie Robinson Day, so there was no name. There was no name on the back. The number was 42. I'm like, that's enough of this. I don't even. It was the 8th inning. It was 2-zip. They're gonna get shut out again. I seen enough. Change that shit.
Well, he won number 42.
They all did. It was Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay, yeah. About to say, I thought that was universally retired.
That's what I'm saying. It was Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. I'm about to say, wait a minute. The last player that was allowed to wear that number because he was grandfathered in was Mariano Rivera. But anyways, yeah, man, I watched a bit of some baseball. I haven't really gotten completely into it yet, man. There's some pretty bad baseball being played, but there's some solid baseball being played. You look at certain teams out there, like the Pittsburgh Pirates, surprising anybody. Kansas freaking City. I'm not expecting this to last, but that's what they're doing with a 38-point differential too. What the hell's going on here? I gotta look at the entire record to see where this is coming from. But yeah,
so as we're coming to the end, let me talk about Nick Wrong.
Yeah.
Last week's show, I mentioned how he said something about your mock draft is incredible unless you do multiple mock drafts.
Yeah, there we go.
I saw a video, I think it was yesterday. He dropped his 3.0 mock draft 3.0. He had the Bears trading up to number 5. He had the Giants trading up to number 6. He had number 7 trading down. I was like, this is retarded.
Where do you get this from?
But wait. He goes, now, just so you know, my official mock draft 0.40 is going to drop next week. So what are you talking about 3.0 for? Come on, man.
He got brackets going on in freaking college basketball, like 20 brackets.
Stupid, man. Again, like, how do you know do you know all these trades are going to go down? What do the Bears have to move up to 5? Everybody's talking about the Bears moving down because they need more picks. What do they have? They only have 4 picks in this draft.
Man, I don't know, man. There's so many. I've always been a bit intrigued about how they decide who's going to make a trade because they need to make a trade or because you want to be different. You want to be different. Trying to pick a team that's going to make a trade.
Hold on. And if you've seen our videos and you heard me talk about Nick Wrong before and you're wondering, why do you watch the videos if you don't like him or you think he's stupid? Because I like Chris Broussard's responses to his dumbass. That's why.
Yeah, you have your yin and yang with those two. But, man, the draft is coming up, man, and we're going to do our live draft show for the first round of the draft and go along with the flow as the picks are being made. And it looks like Caleb won pick overall as it stands right now.
Sure does look that way.
If it lands his offer, there's no way he's not going number 1. You know what I mean? Because they offered a first this year, 25 and 26. Bro, you build a team with those kind of picks. And with the Commanders being as bad as they are, they'll be low, they'll be high picks.
I doubt the validity of that. I doubt the validity of that offer. Also, I don't think that was real.
Oh, really?
To
Well, you
move
know
down
what?
one spot and get all that draft capital.
Yeah,
I don't think.
it blows my mind, man. I mean, yeah. See, I didn't verify it. I don't think it's been verified, and maybe somebody can verify it. But for it even to have been said, that's just something that blows my damn mind. And you know what? Going by what the Commanders used to be under Daniel Snyder, that wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility because he's always done some nonsense like that or some sabotage. We saw that team he tried to throw together when he had Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and thought he had them in their prime. That thing went down to twos. And then the Albert Haynesworth pickup coming from Tennessee. We've seen the work of the Commanders / Redskins before, and it hasn't always been great. In fact, it has been great in years and decades. And now before we go off the NFL, well, when we get off the NFL, college football had their spring games. At least a majority of the teams had their spring games this past Saturday. Michigan, I believe, having theirs this week. But last week, Alabama had theirs. Georgia had theirs. Miami had theirs. Ohio State had theirs. A number of teams. The transfer portal opened up yesterday, so there are a lot of players after their spring games have concluded. They're going into the transfer portal. 14 days for it to happen. So that means that the players that are going to play this Saturday, like Virginia Tech and so forth, they're going to get their opportunity once players kind of look at the landscape, see how much they're getting time, how much they don't like, and make their change. Henry Parrish from the Canes back into the transfer portal. My biggest pick in terms of the running backs goal, I think everybody knows, Damian Martinez from Oregon State in the transfer portal. Everybody's going to be after that cat. I think Miami wants him badly, but he's going to have his pick of the litter. So you just see all these players going to the transfer portal. Miami, I was down there for it. It was sold out. I was like, yo, bro, I'm like ostracized outside. Like, what's going on here? But you know what? Cam Ward coming from Washington State had a bunch of yards. Now, that's a double-edged sword. Is he really that good, or is our defense really that bad? Going by the way guys were getting burnt, we need some help in the secondary. Thank you, transfer portal.
I just wanted to say, going back to that Bears-Redskins supposed trade, the only thing that makes me think it might have been possible is that Kingsbury might want Caleb Williams because he worked with him before.
He worked with Caleb. Oh, wait a minute. He worked with Caleb Williams where?
I don't remember. I
know because he was down in Texas Tech before he came to Arizona.
I just know when he got hired, they're saying, that's the Caleb Williams connection.
There's a connection, but still, man, the NFL is the NFL. You could be familiar. Like, I remember when Andre Ward came out of college from the run and shoot, and then he went to the NFL and went into the run and shoot. I was like, bro, this is a match made in heaven. And no, it wasn't. I thought it was like, bro, this is like perfect, man. This guy's going from the college run and shoot to the NFL run and shoot. Man, this should work out perfectly, and it didn't. And you have Barry Sanders, and it didn't. But anyways, well, the NFL right now, you have the draft coming up. I don't know. The pro days are over. I mean, that's completely over. So we don't know what's going on. They're still making their mock drafts. Caleb Williams seems like he's going to be number one. I still can't see a running back who deserves to go in the first round. I just don't. I mean, unbelievable that at this point. Either. And so it's a quarterback's draft anyway. Everybody will probably talk about the 1984 draft when those players. The 83 draft when all those players, quarterbacks came out. This is kind of like that, but then we've had so many scenarios when we've had quarterbacks all come out. The Donovan McNabb draft. You remember the Achilles King draft. All these different drafts where a bunch of players came out. Cade McNown was considered a quarterback at one point. Come on. But that's where we are now. So is that going to conclude what we're talking about now? Because there are NBA games on right now, NBA game at least on right now.
Yeah, Pelicans we come on Thursday. I'm making my prediction. It's going to be Lakers and Kings that win tonight.
Lakers and Kings, and we may just have a panel as well.
I can't even make up my mind. I was trying to say Kings and Warriors came out. The
hell? well, maybe a little Freudian slip. We know what you're thinking.
I'll come back in Thursday. I did say Warriors. I told you Warriors going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I even though it's a road game for the Warriors, so, but anyways, Thursday we have a panel so we can talk about the fight on Saturday. But yeah, we'll probably get some other things in as well. There are things going to happen. NBA now and playing games. The playoffs are kind of here already. So these guys earned their right to get into a playing game, and we'll see where it goes from there. He's Biased. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast is going to be signing off. Until next time, deuces.
Peace.